Good morning, everyone. This morning I came out here to see how many iguanas that I could locate. They're pretty hidden this morning, but we'll probably head to my sister's boyfriend's brother's home to have like a fiesta. So that's in for today's video. I hope you really enjoy it, and thank you so much for watching from here in Mexico. What that was.
Tell what the hell that was?
I bet you that's the iguanas.
Well, now it's off in the distance, so it's like something that travels fast. It must have been a bird.
It's like a warning. Yeah, I don't see them at all. But they're definite. Oh, it's an iguana right here. They really make a good loud sound. He's right here.
Yeah, I see him.
Oh no, it isn't. It's a bird. It's the birds that's really yellow. Do you see that?
I see a big bird.
Yeah, that's what's making that noise. Can't really. It's so funny because that squirrel just doesn't seem to be fazed at all by him. He's just there eating his little nut. This plant here is actually growing out of the tree. Right in there. See how it's growing out of the tree? I thought that was pretty cool. So this one here, the root system is right here, and then it's just growing up this tree here, which is pretty cool as well. Nice to see some house plants that are living wild over here. Away from this iguana. And he will go into the pool area here. He's not like a runner. I think he realizes that I'm not really a threat. Well, he does have his spine up. So right now we're at what appears to me like a zoo, and they have alligators, and of course they have a ton of caged iguanas, but personally I prefer our wild ones, but that's okay, it's all good. And so yeah, so we're just gonna walk around in this place, and then we're going to, I believe, going to go to, I think we're going to go to Coral Beach. So there's about 3 alligators right here. One just went under. Yeah, see if they'll eat. They're hungry. Oh, well, look at, they're fighting that one. Little bit at a time. Oh. Now I do have it pretty zoomed in. Today, being next to the water is nice and breezy, but it is still pretty humid out. I guess it's about 80 degrees out, but 90 with humidity. But this is the beach that we're at. I'm not 100% sure of the area. I'll put it down here on the screen. Now these guys here are looking for fish and diving into the water. Pretty fascinating. Oh, hon, we gotta hurry. There's going to be more people coming in. That's a big guy right here. Okay, so we're heading to Coral Beach. And so you go there, and then they pick you up about 5 o'clock. Have to get on or they leave you, because that's when the tide starts coming in. But this is where we're at right now, and so this is where we're at. Those other feet are my sister's feet. That's me. Hello. Yeah, everybody left from the water. Everybody's out. Except for one guy who forgot that he needed to come in.
Oh, that one there, there's another one over there.
Yeah, but he's pretty close to the surface. This guy's not. This guy's way out there. Let's see, where did he go? He doesn't even have a life raft. That deer just... Where did he come from? Look at, he's right over there. Hightail.
Oh my gosh!
Ah.
Where did he come from?
Right here, and he jumped over his leg right here and went this way. He goes, whoop, there's somebody there.
Oh my God, a deer just flew by.
I've never...
My sister and her boyfriend, Hora, were sitting in these 2 chairs right here. And a deer just came barreling and skipped over his feet and went all the way to the very end. And he was like within just feet away from us. And it was incredible. I mean, we heard that there was deer here, but I never expected to actually see one stumbling and running. I mean, he ran so fast. It was incredible. It was an experience that we'll never forget, but I wish I would have caught him on film. But yeah, he just like skipped right by, and he cut out to the woods there. Yeah.
There was one right here. And it looked just like what you find. Did you see it?
Oh, it does. I can't see it. So our very first deer in the island. So that's pretty cool. There's here, Mary. Let's see if I can get close. There you go. I'll take a snapshot of it. Look at me. Oops. So the gentleman who was cutting that fish actually came and fed the alligators. And I didn't catch it because I didn't get there in time. So you can see this one's pretty bloody. Clearly he ate it.
Ay, de veras tiene un hueco.
Ahí viene. So that's the guy who got the meat. Obviously, he's all bloody. So anyway, had to show you this. Me gusta su cocina. Sí. This is their stove. Me gusta la cocina.
Sí,
Sí. This is Sylvia. So,
sister too.
oh, she's your sister too. What's
Claudia.
Lauria?
Claudia.
Oh, Claudia.
Claudia.
Yeah, Claudia. Hi.
And two more sisters.
Okay. Wow, you have a lot of sisters. Seven sisters?
Yes.
How many brothers?
Three.
Three?
Yes. Más chica.
Oh. También la Mary Lou. This is Hera, who is my sister's boyfriend. And we're here to have a little bit of food and dinner and yeah, just enjoy the evening. So.
Okay, Juanita and Brad, this is the town where I was born.
When you see the sign that Petatlan Guerrero Mexico, take a picture. What this country will
So people follow really close like this, and we went to go stop as we are, and somebody hit another car right behind us. Luckily, the car behind us right now didn't hit us. And he's gonna pick you, watch.
See, he was gonna pick you. See, that's why I told you.
This
That's
truck
it,
right
that's it.
here is going on the side, trying to squeeze in. He's just like,
Totally driving on the wrong side of the road.
yeah,
Look
yeah.
at
He's just in a hurry.
Yeah, but it isn't getting them anywhere.
No, if nothing.
No, he'll force himself.
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering if he's not one of the
Oh,
families.
maybe that's where he wants to
Oh,
go.
because he wanted to turn.
Oh.
So, right now, Hera, this is his brother's candy factory, and they do coconut candy. So, this is the process that they're doing it. And he's here, probably he's squeezing out all the liquid out of the coconut. So, basically putting it through a juicer of sorts. And then I think they heat it up over here. I imagine, oh, that's where they do the color of the coconut. Where they're doing it green and they're cooking the coconut. Let's see, I'll walk over this direction. After they cut it all up into pieces, then they start putting it in containers here. ¿Cómo se llama?
¿Yo?
Ya,
Maricel.
Maricel. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien.
Bien.
Gracias a Dios. Aquí trabajando.
Ah, says so she's packaging it up in these containers, getting it ready for sale. And then in this side, it's also coconut candy, but it's just a different type, and they actually put this through a cooker. So here are all the baked goods. So here she's rolling it up, the different colors, and then they're going to probably roll it out. ¿Cómo se llama?
Lisbeth.
Oh, Lisbeth. ¿Cómo te llama usted? ¿Cómo te llamas? Melita. Oh, Melita. ¿Y usted? Jesús. Ah, mucho gustos. And it is hot in here. So this is the coconut process. Taking out the water. And what they do is they get rid of the water. But then they sell the water to other people. And then they use it for other purposes. ¿Y cómo se llama usted, señor?
Gerardo.
Gerardo. Mucho gusto. Y no le corte. No, sir. No, like what? Oh, no, stop. Oh, he said that that's not really that sharp. It's just basically sharp enough for it to cut across, but not too sharp so that he never cuts himself.
Bucket right inside the bucket.
So this right here is actually the flour. Do you see how those things, those small parts are in there? Well, these are the flour. You can actually eat this. Now it's very mild. And I mean, it has a little bit of a taste of coconut, but overall, it's really, really mild and not gritty or stringy like your normal coconut is. And, oh, the center part, this whiter part, then becomes a little bit sweeter without being too sweet at all. I mean, hardly even sweet. I mean, it's just a great flavor. I could eat this all day. ¿Y estos lo ponen allá?
¿Vale?
¿Estas lo ponen dentro de la cocina?
Se llama bombo.
¿Se llama bumbo?
Bombo.
Bombo.
Ajá.
¿Por qué lo cocina?
Para que se cosa, pues, porque así crudo no se debe cocer bien.
Oh, bueno.
Sí, y ahí se le echa lo que debe llevar el dulce, azúcar, glucosa,
bueno.
el colorante.
So he said that you cook it so you can cook out all the
Se
sugars.
tiene que cocer eso,
Sí.
que quede igual que este.
Oh, para que se hace muy duro.
Ajá, para que
Bueno.
sea durito. Por ejemplo, aquí ya está cocido.
Oh, sí. So he's saying this is cooked, then ironed out or rolled out, and then it's done in layers, and then they cut it according to this little disc that he has. It looks like he measures it. Now they're adding the coconut to the outer shell of it, the loose coconut.
Vale.
Here they have the orange
Bien.
color.
No. Ahora.
And she rolls it and throws it into the bucket. Cuando lo hacen así, ¿no? Entonces agarran todo lo rojo y todo y lo ponen ahí.
Aquí y la masa con un tubo.
Oh, okay. So once they add these, and they add it up like this, then what will happen is that they'll take the different colors, which I'm surprised that they're not dividing the colors, and they'll add them to this, and they'll line them up, and then they'll get a big roller and roll over them to make them nice and flat, such as this. And then they will layer it, and every time they do a different color, they'll do it here. And then, and then they bring them layer by layer, and then they cut them. I've never seen this process before, so really interesting to see how this coconut candy is made. And this is, again, this is Petta's brother's business. So this is the coconut core, and this is what they use, and then they sell this, correct?
Yes, they're selling.
They sell this, and this is also how they do the coconut core that we use in the U.S. for gardening. So they take this and they process this part, which is just the core, of which we garden and use for moisture, retaining moisture. And then they also grind all of the shells, but they sell these to other folks, and then they process it according to their company. How much the candy costs?
This is how much a bucket of coconut candy costs. 50,
Then 20, 70.
70 pesos
For a bucket, huh?
for a whole bucket of coconut candy.
Okay. This is Media. And, ¿qué está lavando?
Yeah.
But she actually runs a little store in front of their home. So it's her husband that does his candy factory right across from where they live. And so her husband isn't around right now. But what's really interesting about this home is that they built their living area and probably a couple bedrooms. But right through this pink area is where their kitchen is. And they built that as an afterthought after already living in the home. Then eventually, once he learned the business on how to do the coconut candy factory, then he created his own business in doing that. And he built this whole building thereafter. And of course, part of it's their garage, but it's just amazing. To me, I think it really helps you to appreciate the things that you have when you build it on your own. And that is really something to admire people for. Them out because she's making salsa, but this is her grocery store in front of their home. So I'll pass through and take you around. And then I have some chips here on this side. And then this is their cooler, which they sell different drinks and stuff. In this town, they actually sell salt. You can purchase some in very small bags, small, medium, and large. And, you know, as you can see, they buy the coconut candy from his brother, and then they sell them at their stores as well. Really been fascinating to see the process of everything here. Oh, here comes a lot of their family members here. Sylvia and... Hola,
Juanita.
¿Cómo están?
Yeah. Cute. It's so cute.
So I'm able to touch these coconuts. This is a pretty small coconut tree. And then here's another one over here. This one's even smaller. I would love to take one of these home with me. Look at, don't have to climb a tree to get a coconut over here. This is perfect. And, So in this restaurant, they have these hammocks throughout for you to just sit and use. Oh my gosh, it's so humid though. Every now and then I get a little wind of fresh air. Las Palmas, that's the name of this restaurant. And there's most of the family. The water is like really warm. It's like it's like a nice warm, very lukewarm bath. You miss what? Oh, the horse. So this is where we're staying, Puerta del Mar. Puerta is a door. It's up for sale. It does need some work. Doesn't have much internet, but it's been pleasant regardless. I mean, it's a beautiful little place, really. We've been overall happy. Buenas noches. And the grounds is beautiful. Haven't had any complaints. This is the first time we've ever seen this pool. In the last 7 days we've been staying here, this is the fullest we've seen this pool. Probably one whole family. And yeah, we're staying up on the 4th floor up here, kind of center point. So they have 2 pools. This is just one of them. Good to see that people are using it. The only thing I didn't like about this pool was the fact that it had salt water in it. And I didn't feel refreshed when I came out. It actually made my skin feel kind of like a tingly, cool sensation. But it's pretty booming tonight. Oh my gosh. Never seen it so far this full. But yeah, didn't like it because it was kind of like going into the ocean, but actually the ocean was a lot more refreshing when you got out and you didn't feel sticky. So, you know, it's all relative, what you like, what you don't. And then, of course, we're going up this little tiny elevator. There's Brad. He's as red as a tomato. He's gonna start looking like a Mexican. So we're on the 4th floor. That is in relation to the pool. I guess I could have pointed you that direction. And it's time to go in. And so yeah.
It's going away.
So right now I'm in Ixtapa Airport, and as soon as these people get off the flight and they clean it back up, then we'll be heading to LA, and then from LA we will be catching another Alaska Airlines all the way home. So we're on board, heading to USA. I'll be glad to not have to eat Mexican food for a change. Although it was fantastic. There was no complaints.